Now, as I talk to folks about the race, I'm not locking in. I'm not saying, well, since I reported that the polls were going in his direction, President Trump's direction, that's it. And then I'll stick with that the rest of the way. If it changes, it'll change. When I reported that President Biden was planning to leave the race as early as the coming weekend, I also reported that he did not plan to endorse Kamala Harris. The reason I did was because I had it really well sourced that he didn't.
Carl, according to multiple Democratic sources, this is happening all of a sudden. Everyone said it would happen gradually and then all at once, and that's what's happening. According to my sources, President Biden has agreed to step down as the Democratic nominee.
Oh, man.
It will happen as early as this weekend. A speech has been drafted for him. He will continue on as president, is his intention. He also will not, I'm told, endorse Vice President Harris as his successor. They're hoping that he will endorse an open process in which the convention will be open to Vice President Harris and a few other candidates in Chicago to pick the Democratic nominee for president. The belief is that Vice President Harris is already looking at potential running mates to go to Chicago with a full ticket, including one possibility, Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, and perhaps the governor of Pennsylvania, Governor Shapiro. Other possible candidates who are being talked about include Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, perhaps Gretchen Whitmer, and again, the vice president running. On the first ballot, the regular delegates would be allowed to vote under this agreement that's being talked about amongst the president and high-level Democrat officials. The regular delegates would vote on the first ballot. If there is no winner in the first ballot, the so-called super delegates would be allowed to vote on the subsequent ballot. This decision was reached, I'm told, all of a sudden because of the high-level pressure from Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and others, and as well as the decision of many of President Biden's top aides that there was no path forward for him, that he would not be able to win this election, win the general election. And therefore, He's stepping aside again as early as this weekend.
So from the time I reported that to the time on Sunday when he got out of the race and then shortly thereafter endorsed her, my reporting is, and I said this, but it's been ignored by my critics, I said he came under enormous pressure when I reported that he wasn't going to endorse her from a lot of people, including very influential women close to the vice president, who said, you've got to endorse her. It'll look horrible if you don't. And he changed his mind. So there was no open convention, as I reported there was going to be, because things changed. In this case, they changed, I think, largely because of what I reported. But my point in telling you that story, besides to see if I can shut up all the criticism of that element of my scoop, is I will change. And the story can change. All I can do is tell you at a single moment what's going on based on my reporting.
We do have a major piece of news, which is just moments ago, President Biden answered a question that many of us have been asking, and that was whether he would endorse his vice president to take his place. And in a statement on social media, he now has. Here's what he says. He says, my very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. So this is a major puzzle piece falling into place, Christine. Had he not done that, we would have been heading into several very chaotic weeks, perhaps a contested convention. But this is the president basically turning not only his endorsement over to the vice president, but also his campaign war chest, his campaign operation, basically giving her the most high-profile endorsement he can to launch her on what will now be a breakneck 3.5-month campaign for the presidency. This is just something that we really haven't seen in modern times.
He came under enormous pressure when I reported that he wasn't going to endorse her from a lot of people, including very influential women close to the vice president, who said, you've got to endorse her. It'll look horrible if you don't. And he changed his mind. So there was no open convention, as I reported there was going to be, because things changed. In this case, they changed, I think, largely because of what I reported.
Poor hubby. Poor hubby. No.
He knows how to sell right there. Okay.